Mike Arnold here, co-founder of Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. So this is recorded around 4:15 Central Time, December 6th, starting off on EOS. EOS ran up through the key levels as 466, and then went from, we had GAN projections from the swing low on the 3rd up through the swing high yesterday on the 5th, which took us up to 484, and we have a prior GAN level 487 and 485 cluster. Poked just above that, ran up to 512, and then massive sell-off back to the rotation zone, back to another key GAN level. That's this orange line here. See, it found support in the rotation zone and that level, now rotating back up. Let me clean up these charts a bit so we can look at the next key levels up. If it does continue higher, first of all, we're looking for a return. There's some major resistance at this 491 level, so that's a good level to raise stops. Always a good place to trade with stops if you got in on this rotation to move it back up. And then if we go, and when we go to new highs, 534, and then the 540, and then 555 are the key levels. Checking in with the daily chart. Again, we're pulling pretty far away from the rotation zone again. So at some point, we are going to get the bigger pullback. Right now, key levels for the bigger pullback, this brief pause breakout zone would be 391, which is still above the daily rotation zone, which the top of that's trading about 375. So first key area support, we'd be looking for 375 to 391. And then on a big pullback, we're looking all the way back down to 3, which is the bottom of the rotation zone on the daily chart, where it will rise to right around that $3 level and that prior breakout zone. In case there's a big pullback, don't be shocked. That's why you have stops in. You know how you're going to be trading this. Switching over to Ethereum, which is now below the rotation zone on the 4-hour chart, finding some key support at this 25% retracement GAN level from this high back on the 29th of November and the low on the 30th. We have our nice GAN levels in here, which you see how we've been rotating between the key levels. We're watching here. It did go down and test this red line, which was the prior all-time highs way back when, before we went to the most recent new highs. If we break down through that, we're looking at 401 as the next level. Then we're looking for 385 to 390 as the next key level of support. Again, we're against the rotation zone, so any rallies into the rotation zone, if you are picking up some of this, we'd be looking to either move stops or take profits, because it has to get through this rotation zone, which, you know, can prove to be difficult, and it's now the trend is down. Let's check in on the daily chart. Daily chart trading right at the bottom of the rotation zone on the daily chart. It's sort of key that it holds around here. If we do get the close below that, then we're looking for those bigger pullback levels, and eventually we could see this possibly return to around the 373 to 380 level. So over to IOTA 4-hour chart, blew through again all the key levels we had here. So that's where we stand. There was no way to do, at least on this time frame, a lot of GAN projections. Just sort of had to trade. Our next target was around 550. We looked at 5 and then 550. Now we got the nice big pullback to the rotation zone. Now we're watching a return to 492. And then the 550 area, and then we have we have a reverse GAN box and a normal GAN box. Normal GAN box goes from the low on the 4th up to that most recent high on the 6th. The reverse goes from earlier today on the 6th to that high. It's going backwards. Gives us the first level 581. Then we have the cluster in the middle, 602 to 607, which is going to be very key. Then 646 should we go to new highs so far if this rotation zone holds. Let's check in on the daily chart, because this has gone very far, very fast. All right, so at this point, if this does collapse down, first key level support, we're looking at 295, and then next level about 265. Keep that in mind. If this was the end of the rally, this is leaving behind a nice big tail. So if it can't get to new highs, we're then going to be watching for the bigger pullback. Today it pulled back to 37.5 from this highs, which is a minor pullback, but the more substantial pullback should be 295 and then the 260 area. and below that, the next key area is 230. Do not be shocked at the time. You're going to see a bigger pullback in IOTA. It's gone very far, very fast. And finally, over to Monero. Went through the next key levels as 262. Paused for a bit, enabling us to get a pausing bar and then come from the lows on December 3rd up to the highs yesterday, which gave us the next key levels up there. This 282, which we nearly got the close on, and the highest level 293. We poked up to around 296. So that was our target. Then we got the collapse back down, spike through the rotation zone. But remember, we watched for the closing basis, closing back above the rotation zone, now holding at the top end of the rotation zone. So if this level does not hold around this 256, then we're watching for a pullback to around 239. And then the next key level below that's 233. That's what we're watching for there. If this were to rally up at this point again, it looks like a topping pattern right now to us. We'll do a reverse GAN box from this spike low. That would take us back to 306 and 317. But again, this is looking quite toppy. Let's zoom out to the daily to check on that. All right, so here we have it on the daily chart. You see that big spike down took us to the 37.5 retracement level and the top of the rotation zone on the daily basis, and then it's recovered since then. So if we do sell off again, this 214 area is going to be very key. Below that, we have a breakout zone at 200, and then very key support comes in about the 187 level, which would put us into the back in the middle of the daily rotation zone. Do not be surprised when we get the bigger pullback in Monero. We're not saying it's happening now. We're just saying at some point you're going to see a pullback to more normalize this market out. So that's what we have for you in EOS, Ethereum, IOTA, and Monero. We will talk to everyone again soon. Please like, subscribe, comment, do everything you need to do to keep this channel growing. We really appreciate everyone who watches these videos, who gives us the comments, who gives us thumbs up. Thank you for your continued support. Bye for now.